fourth and sixth place cars, excuse me, have hit pit road. So the leaders are beginning to hit pit road. There's Boyer
in the 2 car. And he's going to slide down toward the turn 1 end of pit road. Ralph Shaheen.
Alan, we're hustling to get there. We didn't know he was coming just yet. He's sliding into his pit box. Again, the thing is that everybody's working on the adjustments to their race cars right now. And the majority of that is being done through air pressures. We see a bit of a wedge adjustment to the back of the car. They change 4 tires and fill them up with fuel. And they'll be sending him back out. So again, working on the adjustments to these race cars, Lindsay, and it continues.
Ralph, the last time we told you about Carl Edwards, he was saying it was a little bit stiff between 3 and 4. They just brought his car in. They are going to make a chassis adjustment to try to loosen him up a little bit. They gave him 4 fresh tires and sent him on his way.
So that was the 2nd place car on pit road. John Wood has also been on and off pit road for a stop. We continue to watch the leader, Denny Hamlin, to see when he makes the move to pit road. Kevin Harvick on that access road inside turns 3 and 4 that you have to use to get onto the pit lane here.
And people were worried about that earlier when it was raining. They didn't want to have to hit that pit road access, that access road when it was wet. And obviously it's dried out. You still have to be real careful, Alan. It's flat down there.
Lindsay? Kevin Harvick's pit stop ongoing. You see 4 tire change here for the 21 car.
Watch these guys too. Now this is a great pit crew. Look how fast they make this pit stop. Under 15 seconds. They're right at 16 seconds.
John Andretti leaving pit road right behind Kevin Harvick. Waiting for the leader, Denny Hamlin. And here he is. Just hit that access road inside of turn 3.
And a lot of the leaders just breathed the collective sigh of relief.
It's going to put Scott Wimmer into the race lead. Mike Wallace, David Green, Kyle Busch also have not pitted. As Denny Hamlin comes in for a stop at lap number 108. He's pitted all the way down the turn 1 end of pit road. Ralph?
Now remember, Alan, this is going to carry over to next week at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and that pit stop at the far end down towards turn 1 will be a huge advantage there. A good advantage here, but they're going to make some adjustments to this car through air pressure and through the track bar. They're going to go a half hand out of the right rear and a turn and a half on the track bar and get this 20 going the way that they want this car to handle. Of course, again, it's just about making the adjustment all the way through this race, so he can continue to hold up Carl Edwards.
A forever stop. 22nd pit stop for the race leader. So let's see how he comes out in relation to some of the other guys who were front runners, like Carl Edwards. There's Scott Wimmer, who's currently the race leader, but has not pitted yet. Ralph?
The interesting thing about this round of pit stops, if you remember the first round, everybody just made air pressure adjustments. Here we're seeing air pressure adjustments, and we're also seeing a lot of adjustments to track bars, which is a much different approach.
And a caution flag is out. Stephen Light is in trouble. He is up against the turn 3 retaining wall, and the second yellow flag of the race comes out when not quite everyone had made green flag pit stops.
Well, a lot of the leaders will be in good shape because they were ahead of the 66 car when they made their pit stop, so they came out still on the lead lap. The guys that'll pay the price for the cats that were running 8th, 9th, 10th that made their pit stops, they will be a lap down.
Watch Scott Wimmer getting ready to come on to pit road when Stephen Light crashes and the caution comes out. Watch the 66.
I'm on. And he's just going to shoot around the access road and avoid coming on the pit road. Now he'll catch a penalty for that. He crossed over the commitment line, but the penalty is nothing compared to what it would be like if he had to come down pit road. He lost all his track position. But he's one of only, what, 6-8 cars on the lead lap?
Right now. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back, reset the scoring for you, and see how all this is going to shake out as a caution comes out in the middle of green flag pit stops at St. Louis. Back at Gateway International Raceway, Stephen Light climbing from his car. Remember, we heard from him earlier on the pre-race that he wasn't feeling all that well at the start of the race, but is okay after the impact with the turn 3 wall. Boy, how quickly fates change in this business, don't they?
What about Kenny Wallace? He was struggling. We were saying how disappointing he was. Now there's going to be 8 cars on the lead lap, led by that cat.
And Kenny Wallace is going to be one of them.
And Kenny Wallace is right back in the game.
Here's what's happened. Most everybody made green flag pit stops except about 5 cars. When the caution came out, 2 of the guys who had stopped because of where their track position was relative to Scott Wimmers, who was the leader at the time, were on the lead lap. So now those 7 cars, plus a free pass car, a lucky dog car, which was Clint Boyer, are going to be the only 8 on the lead lap. It'll be Wimmer, David Green, Carl Edwards, David Ruderman, Denny Hamlin, Mike Wallace, Kenny Wallace, and Clint Boyer, the only guys on the lead lap when we go racing. Have a need for speed? Win big in the Zantac Need for Speed Instant Win game. Win a 2007 Ford Mustang. A trip for 2 to Talladega Superspeedway and get to meet AmeriQuest Racing driver Greg Biffle. The Zantac Need for Speed Instant Win game. Look for specially marked packages for details.
Zantac, doesn't that get you not to have indigestion anymore?
Believe so.
Or is it allergies? I should have not said that, should I? We'll find out.
Calling Dr. Waltrip. Dr. Waltrip. He's just prescribed a headache for the sales department. Coming back to St. Louis for the restart after this. Just back under the green flag. The words I keep thinking of here, potential mess for the leader, Carl Edwards.
Now, I got some good news for you and some bad news for you, Carl. You finally got the lead. There's 16 cars on the tail end of the lead lap ahead of you, or fighting to get a lap back ahead of you. This is potential for disaster. Look at Carl. He's all up in the middle of a bunch of traffic, and there's Denny Hamlin breathing all over the back of him.
That's 4 in the lead, the 20 and the 60 in the middle of this pack. If you're new to NASCAR and want to know how they got back there, they stayed on the racetrack. The guys who had not pitted yet, caution came out, pace car gets in front of the leader, bottoms up the field. The front guys that had not stopped went to pit road. They come back out at the tail end of the line. Carl Edwards gets in line behind all these other guys who also did not pit. They stay out to try and be in front of the leader. They're basically a mile and a quarter behind him, but they call that tail end of the lead lap.
And
Just makes a big mess.
It makes a great story, though. Carl wanting that lead so bad, he finally gets it, but he's not ahead.
That's got to be depressing. Lindsay, what's he saying?
Alan and Michael, his crew chief just got on the radio and was like, hey, Carl, this is an absolute mess. So they're right there. They know this could be possible catastrophe, but hopefully they're hoping that Carl has enough gusto to stick with it and get through this.
Well, he doesn't have any choice. It's not about gusto, it's about winning. And this is some of the twists and turns we talked about before the race started, Alan. This is what you got to deal with to win a race. This series is so intensely competitive, you don't know what set of circumstances you're going to face between the start and the finish to get the win.
Look at Hamlin looking 3 wide for the race lead. Edwards bouncing off of Stacy Compton in the 59. That's the race leader in the middle of all this traffic. And now Hamlin going to try and get the top spot away.
And Compton has no plan to let anybody go. He's going to run those guys hard to stay on the tail end of the lead lap.
Edwards looking to come back underneath.
And Stacy Compton right in the middle of all this stuff.
Gotta love this.
And look lurking in third. There's Wimmer.
So Denny Hamlin back to the point. Remember, the long green flag pit stop is what put Hamlin behind Carl Edwards on the racetrack.
Man, look at the turn that Compton made there. He drove away from Denny exiting turn 2. Scott Wimmer is driven right up on the back of the lead, too.
Tell you what, nice job tonight by that 66 team.
You got that right.
They have not had the kind of season this year that they had last year when it seemed like they were in contention to win every race with Greg Biffle. But nice job tonight. And good to see for Scott Wimmer, who told me a week ago, wow, look at Stacy Compton bottom out.
That's when you're driving down in that corner and hitting those brakes hard. He's trying his best to stay up beside the 20 car.
How about Wimmer, Ralph?
Obviously, they're ecstatic with their performance so far tonight with the 66. And their last pit stop, they took 4 times and went 1 round down on the track bar, continuing to dial that car in. And every time you make those guesses, those assessments, they keep going in the right direction. This car's fast tonight.
Little bump.
Oh, look at Compton. Man, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. He's saying, you're not getting my lap away from me, boys. I don't care what you got going on back there.
And Edwards trying to take advantage to muscle inside of Denny Hamlin for the race lead.
And look how it's paying off for Stacy. He's able to drive up to John Andretti and getting on the outside of John Andretti, putting another car between he and the leaders.
Compton fighting to stay on the lead lap. So Hamlin settles back in the lead. Gonna look to the outside of Andretti. Was that the right lane choice?
How you feel about 3 wide there? Now let's give it a whirl.
John Andretti in the 10 is 2 laps down. Now the leaders have gone by him, so he was not one of those guys fighting to stay on the end of the lead lap.
But as long as you're 1 lap down, Alan, you got a shot. You got a shot for a good finish because you can hang in there, get a free pass, get back on the lead lap. Once you go 2 down, your night's over. You're not going to get a good finish 2 down.
So Denny Hamlin back out in front.
There's his buddy Stacy Compton.
Another lap down. And now the race for Compton, if the leader gets by him, is to stay in front of the 47 of John Wood, which would be the first car 1 lap down and get him the chance to get the lucky dog on the next caution, a free pass around the pace car.
The only problem is Hamlin will go up there, eat up the guy that's on the tail of the lead lap, and that'll put Stacy the second car lap down. And so that's why Stacy was so desperate to keep Hamlin behind him, not just to stay on the lead lap, but to preserve him getting a lap back. He knows when Denny goes around him, there's a pretty good chance he'll go up there and go around some more people.
The race to the lead is settled down. Lindsay is with a driver who was involved in the incident that brought out that last caution.
Stephen Light just came out of the care center. He's been evaluated and released. Stephen, what happened out there?
Just lost our brakes. For about 20, 30 laps, I had a small vibration in the right front. And after our pit stop, it started acting real funny on the racetrack. Car was moving around a lot in the corners. And I thought maybe I had a tire going down. And we probably were going to pit within the next 5 laps, even though we just pitted because we weren't sure what was wrong. And when I went into 3, I pushed the brakes. I heard it popping right front and had no brakes. The pedal went to the floor and just couldn't. At that point, I was just along for the ride.
Okay, and you had complained about not feeling well before this race. Did that have any impact on you out there?
No, I mean, you know, I was sick. I mean, I didn't feel too good, but I kind of put it in the back of my head. I was just out there working as hard as I could, trying to get a good finish for these guys. I feel really bad. I mean, this team's worked so hard. City Financial team's doing an awesome job. And just one of them things.
Stephen Light is done for the evening. Alan?
But has a big week to look forward to as he tries to qualify for the Brickyard 400, the All-State 400 at the Brickyard, at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this coming week. Denny Hamlin dominating tonight so far, but Carl Edwards hanging right with him. The Busch Silver Celebration 250 on TNT is brought to you by Carfax. Never buy a used car without Carfax. Get a Carfax vehicle history report. Ask your dealer or go to Carfax.com. And by Subway Restaurants. Subway, drive hard, eat fresh. Pretty good race for the lead here at Gateway International Raceway. Denny Hamlin in 20, Carl Edwards in 60. They've been the 2 dominant drivers in the race. The only 2 that have led, as a matter of fact. But Hamlin has done most of the leading. Carl's got to be kind of frustrated at looking at the back bumper of that red 20.
Can't do anything. Get right on him, but he can't do anything with them. They catch cars in traffic, and Carl gets a run on him, but then Denny's just stronger. Look at Carl's car down that left front, right in the center of the turn. We've seen that all night long. He just beats Denny through the center. Denny beats him off and down the straightaway.
Hamlin has led 121 of 130 laps so far tonight.
You know, that's a dominant performance, but when NASCAR, when you dominate, he's dominating by hardly. You know, he makes one slip and Carl Edwards is fine. That's how tight competition is, and that's what's so fun about our sport. Twists and turns like we saw on the restart.
Yep.
Guys on the lead lap, guys a lap down. And then he just continuing to lead laps, but he's not able to drive away from Carl.
They put Stacy Compton back 1 lap down. Now they put Todd Cleaver back 1 lap down. The 0-1 car is Jay Sauter. He is one of those tail end of the lead lap guys from the restart that if they overtake him, then becomes the first car 1 lap down.
And that's significant. Being the first car lap down with a caution slide, you get the free pass, you get to drive around and make up the lap. And so you want to be that guy. That's who you want to be if you're a lap down.
Checking out speeds at the line here. I don't expect the top 2 to be the fastest speeds because heavy traffic. Whoa, Hamlin really